Madam, ready?
Welcome address by Dr. S. Manimegalai. Madam, start பண்ணலாம். Now, welcome address by Dr. S. Manimegalai. Madam, start பண்ணலாம் madam.
Manimegalai madam.
Madam, start பண்ணலாம். Manimegalai madam. Manimegalai madam.
Sir, live கொடுத்துட்டு உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது
Sir, you work for that. Sir,
Madam.
you will feel. Sir, yes, sir. Yes.
Welcome
Sir.
address by Dr. S.
Sir,
Manimegalai.
line la irukku, sir.
Start பண்ணலாம் madam.
The harder you work for something, the greater you will feel when you achieve it. Blitzer, welcome to everyone as we are about to start the final day session of SIP. Honorable Secretary, sir, respected Principal, sir, Coordinator, IQAC, Vijayanand, sir, Convener, SIP, Dr. Narayan, sir, Ananthakrishnan, sir, for the technical support, for the warm welcome to one and all. Budding resource person, Mrs. J.Rini Joyce, Assistant Professor of English, the American College, Madurai. We welcome you to honor this session, ma'am. Her achievements are, she is a recipient of Certificate of Honor for the Excellence Academic Record and the Post-Graduation. She has published a paper in the Research Journal of English Language and Literature entitled Postmodern Theories in the Select Works of Kamala Das and Maya Angelou. Published a paper in both the International Journal of Research, Humanities and Arts entitled Covering of Self and Verona Roots Divergent. She has participated in 2 workshops, 2 international conferences, shared technical sessions. Her area of interest includes poetry, drama, and contemporary literature. Her area of specialization is dystopian literature. An ardent lover of nature and books, interested in theory arts. Madam, your profile reflects your passion and zeal for literature. Now, over to resource person, J.Rini Joyce, ma'am. Thank you for this opportunity given to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Manimegalai, for such a wonderful introduction. I'm very glad to see so many young faces sitting in front of this virtual world to listen to this lecture or to listen to this online induction program on communication skills. When I was asked to talk to you about communication, I felt it was a dire need that all these younger generation should definitely know the importance of communication. And I thank the management for understanding this dire need at this juncture of their entrance into a different world called teenage, where they understand the importance of communication skills before they enter into another big challenging world of opportunities. Communication is not just all about 2 people or more talking to each other, but rather there are a million little things that come together with that. Communication is the foundation for any social chain, and those who lack this skill in communication will be severed ties from the society. It is a skill because it gives space for improvement. And whatever we share or call as a skill definitely has a space to improve. So I think there are a lot of words, this word cloud with communication that you can see. So it has words like network, interpretation, symbols, verbal. There are so many words that combine this, that are altogether a combination. Communication is an all-encompassing word which includes all of these words. I'm just reminded of a quote that says, communication works for those who work at it. The first main thing that I want all of you younger generation to understand is that the heart and soul of communication is a language. When I say language, all that I'm sure you people can think is only about English. But I'm just here to break that chain and tell you communication is all about your ability to share a message that makes the other person understand the intention with which you're sharing it. So language is never a barrier and should never be a barrier. தமிழ்ல பேசினா வந்து கம்யூனிகேஷன் அப்படின்னு ஒரு விஷயம் கிடையாது, கம்யூனிகேஷன் சொன்ன உடனே இங்கிலீஷ் தான் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சீங்க அப்படின்னா, ஐம் ஹியர் டு டெல் யூ, தமிழ்ல நீங்க பேசினாலும் உங்களால நீங்க பேசுறத கரெக்டா இன்னொருத்தருக்கு கொண்டு போய் சேர்க்க முடியுது அப்படின்னா, then you are very good at communication. Okay, so please be rest assured that the language capacity or the language capability that you have doesn't define how good you are at communication. It is all about the attitude that you put into, or the heart and soul that you put into the ability to convey the message that you want to. So speaking of what is communication, communicating is giving, receiving, and exchanging ideas, information, signals, or messages. So I think we have to focus on the word giving and receiving. So it is not just one person talking all the time and the other person receiving it. So it is a mutual exchange of ideas. That is what we mainly lack in understanding when it comes to the idea of communication. So it is not just giving information, but it is rather receiving and exchanging information from the others too. So how do we do it? How do we exchange this information? Okay, we do it through appropriate media. Now, right now I'm sitting on another side of a virtual world talking to you, and now I can tell you this is a way of communicating. Okay, so I'm communicating from one person to a group of individuals. Even your advertisements that you see on the television is a mode of communication, is a media through which we communicate something that you need to be aware of. And communication, as everybody knows, is both verbal and non-verbal. If you're just thinking your communicative abilities are just constrained to only verbal and just words and language that in which you're talking, I'm here to tell you again or emphasize the fact that you are terribly wrong. It all contributes not with just the words that you're using, but your gestures, your facial expressions. All these are a part of communication. And if you are somebody who is so good at, or if you're somebody who is so keen in having a lot of people around you, I mean, actually have a term called people's person. Okay, if you are a people's person and you want to be surrounded by a lot of people, then I think it is definitely time for you to know or understand the importance of communication at this juncture, because you are entering into a world where you will encounter a lot of strangers who will actually be continuing with you for 3 more years from now, or maybe later on than that, if you become very close friends. So I think it is important to know that the importance of communication can help you build relationships. It can help you understand how the society works. And people who are afraid to talk are understood that there is a fear of being judged. நிறைய பேர் இங்க வந்து பேசணும் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கும் போது நிறைய பேர் பேசி சந்தோஷமா சிரிச்சிட்டு இருப்பாங்க. பட் நீங்க அந்த இடத்துல பேசணும் அப்படின்னு நினைக்கும் போது உங்களுக்கு முத வர்ற ஒரு விஷயம் வந்து பேரியரா அங்க உங்களோட பயம்தான். பட் I just want you to understand, if you just have to put aside that fear, you're going to enter a different new world, which will help you gain a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, and it will get you into a lot of amazing things that you have not seen before. So I think I have to share with you a very personal experience of mine, which will encourage you to connect with what I'm talking. I still remember being a child when I was hardly 10 years old, a child of 10 years old. And I think you definitely have to know that Madurai Meenakshi Amman Temple is one of the very famous tourist spots for everybody, be it people inside Madurai or be it people from anywhere around the world. So you can always see a lot of foreigners showing up around the temple, because that place is where a lot of shopping happens. And I remember walking down those streets with my mom and dad. And when my dad said, that I have to take an effort to talk to one of those people who were approaching us or who were passing by, the foreigners who were passing by, I was so terribly afraid. I think you should understand the mindset of a 10-year-old being asked to talk to somebody who is a stranger, and especially when they are from a different country. So I think that juncture, I was filled with a lot of fear, and I still can feel that fear inside me when I heard my dad say that. When he said he wanted me to go and talk to all of them. But he said, he wanted to see in me a confident young little girl who is able to be approachable and who can be approached. So I just took a step further and I made sure that I had a small talk with that one of those foreigners who was just passing by. I engaged in a very small conversation. I was not e- I don't even know if I was very good at my English at that particular time, but I still remember after that encounter with that stranger, I felt so confident that I was able to communicate with a total stranger and a person with especially in their native tongue. Okay, I think you understand that English is the native tongue of all these foreign people, and which we are not. We are native. We are people with the native tongue Tamil. So I felt so confident, and I think that day my fear left me. And that juncture is where my fear left me, and I started being or feeling so motivated to, I understood the ability of building up a conversation. So I think this will definitely help you understand what fear you have to let go if you have to become the person that you want to be. I think that if because of me letting go of that fear, that one single day by walking an extra mile has brought me to you, all of you now, right now at this juncture. So when you have to understand what communication is all about, okay, the package of communication comes with a lot of things. First thing comes first. So your language is the first thing that you have to understand about. And the main part or the main idea of having the language as the first important component of communication is that language is the key for communication. So it doesn't mean that only language becomes the key factor or the key component, but rather there are other factors that add on to communication. When I say communication, it is not just words, but I again have to emphasize that you both talk verbally and non-verbally. I want you also to understand the importance of conversation starters. எங்கேயுமே ஒரு ஆரம்பம் இருந்தாதான் அது அடுத்து எங்க போகுதுன்னு தெரியும். So conversation starters are nothing but the beginnings or the initiations. If two people are going to sit in the same room, but without any attempt to initiate the conversation, then there will be no room or no space for any learning. ஒரு கிளாஸ் ரூம் ஸ்பேஸ்க்குள்ள டீச்சர்ஸா வந்து முன்னாடி நிற்கும் போது அவங்க மட்டுமே பேசிட்டு இருக்கிறாங்க, நீங்க அவங்க கிட்ட பேசல அப்படின்னா அங்க மியூச்சுவல் எக்ஸ்சேஞ்ச் ஆஃப் ஐடியாஸ் இருக்காது. அவங்க என்ன பேசுறாங்களோ அதை மட்டும் கேட்டுட்டு நீங்க வந்து வெளியில போற மாதிரி இருக்குமே தவிர நீங்க என்ன நாலேஜ் கெயின் பண்ணிக்கணுமோ அதை பண்ணாம தான் போயிருவீங்க. So it is very good that you learn at this juncture that you have to initiate conversations if you are thirsty for learning. உங்களுக்கு நிறைய நாலேஜ் வேணும்னு ஆசைப்படுறீங்களா, காலேஜுக்கு நீங்க நிறைய படிக்கணும், நிறைய தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும்னு வந்திருக்கிறீங்களா, then understand that you have to let go of the fear and you should be initiators of a conversation. And one another thing that most of us fail to understand is that we only put ourselves in the front, but rather we forget the importance of the receiver. ஒரு இன்ஃபர்மேஷனை ஷேர் பண்ணும்போது நம்ம பேசுறோமே தவிர அதை யாரை கேட்கறாங்க, அவங்களுக்கு அது பிரயோஜனமா இருக்குமான்னு அவங்க பக்கம் நின்று நம்ம பாக்குறதே கிடையாது. Okay, and that is when the communication or the importance or the effectiveness of a communication is laid back or goes lagging back. So when you are starting a conversation with someone, put yourself in the shoes of the person who is receiving it. Try to understand what are the common grounds that you share, and you try to build a conversation in which the other person will also be motivated to be involved. And that will definitely make you a good communicator, and because of which you will also be facilitating somebody to be a part of a good conversation and a communication process. And it is also very important that you have to keep yourself very keen in knowing or making sure the attitude, the perception, the emotions and the thoughts in which you are approaching a particular concept or you're talking about a concept. You cannot talk about a concept pretending to like it if you don't really like it. I think in that case, the conversation or the communication is going to go nowhere. உங்களுக்கு பிடிக்காத ஒரு விஷயத்த வந்து பிடிக்கிற மாதிரி வந்து நினைச்சிட்டு நீங்க பேசுனீங்க அப்படின்னா அந்த கான்வர்சேஷன் எங்கேயுமே போகாது. It will be a very stagnant conversation and that conversation will get you nowhere. Okay, so if you have to speak to somebody, train yourself to gain knowledge before you talk to someone. உங்களுக்கு அந்த விஷயத்தை பத்தி பிடிக்கல அப்படின்னா கூட கொஞ்சம் அதுல இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் எடுத்துக்கிட்டு அதை பத்தி நீங்க என்ன நாலேஜ் கெயின் பண்ணிக்க முடியும் அப்படிங்கறத பார்த்துட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் நீங்க என்ன ஆரம்பிக்கலாம், பேச ஆரம்பிக்கலாம். So in that sense, the knowledge that you gain will definitely help you in the longer run. So you have to understand the basic principles of communication. So what I think will be the 6 C's will definitely help you, or the 6 C's that will tell you what a communication is all about. The first thing is clarity. When you are sharing a thought, you definitely have to consider structuring and ordering the idea in which you are talking, which means when there is somebody who is listening to you at the other end, you definitely have to be very conscious and keen about the order in which or the structuring in which your thought process goes. I think you should be well practiced to let the other person know you understand their need and you are talking or speaking to them according to or catering to their needs in which they are listening to. And secondly, completeness. ஒரு மெசேஜை ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுவோம், பட் ஆனால் அதை என்ன பண்ண மாட்டோம்னா முழுசா முடிக்க மாட்டோம். It is very important that you learn to completely share a message on the whole. அதுதான் completeness. ஒரு விஷயத்த பாதியில நீங்க எங்க ஆரம்பிச்சீங்க, எதுக்காக ஆரம்பிச்சீங்க, அதை எப்படி முடிக்க போறீங்க அப்படின்னு தெரியாம முடிச்சிட்டீங்க அப்படின்னா அந்த கம்யூனிகேஷன்ல அர்த்தமே இருக்காது. Okay, so better, I think you should at this place or at this juncture learn how to make a complete message so that you will be able to get the other person into your reach. The third thing is conciseness. Brevity is the soul of wit. சொல்றத சுருங்க சொல்றது வந்து ரொம்ப முக்கியம். நீங்க வளவலன்னு இழுத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா யாருமே கேட்க மாட்டாங்க. So I think you should learn the art of communicating with being very concise and precise. Okay, I think you should definitely have heard this word called KISS. KISS அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து it is a short form for keep it short and simple. So whatever message you are sharing, try to make it very short and simple so that the other person will be stirred with curiosity to listen to more things from you. And the next thing that I want you to learn, or the next thing that I think is very sure that you should be knowing, is consideration. If you're going to talk about something that is out of the box or something that is not relevant to that particular period, then you will be talking something Greek and Latin to the person who is listening to you. So you definitely have to understand, or you definitely have to choose a topic that is the need of the hour. Okay, so இப்போ உங்க காலேஜ்ல இருந்து இந்த ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் செஷன் உங்களுக்கு அரேஞ்ச் பண்ணிருக்காங்கன்னா கம்யூனிகேட்டிவ் ஸ்கில்ஸ் எவ்வளவு முக்கியம்ன்றது அவங்களுக்கு தெரியும். ஸோ அதனால இந்த நேரத்துல உங்களுக்கு அதை நீங்க கேட்கணுங்கிறத வந்து பிளான் பண்ணி என்ன பண்ணிருக்காங்க அப்படின்னா இந்த செஷன் அரேஞ்ச் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. ஸோ தட் இஸ் வாட் ஐ கால் as consideration. You should definitely be able to organize your thoughts and make yourself be presentable with ideas that is the need of the hour. And the third thing is correctness. What I mean by correctness is that you have to be very accurate and appropriate when you are sharing a message. நீங்களா ஏதாவது என்ன பண்ணக்கூடாது அப்படின்னா ஒரு மெசேஜ் கிடைச்சது, அது சரியா தப்பான்னு தெரியாம என்ன பண்ணக்கூடாது அப்படின்னா அதை ஷேர் பண்ணக்கூடாது. Okay, so which means you have to be very keenly focusing on how important it is to blend both fact and fantasy when you're having a communication with them, which actually makes a conversation more interesting. And the last one is courtesy. We often forget the kind of people that we are talking to. So when you speak to elders, or when you speak to people of your own age, or when you speak to your peers, you have to understand the right kind of words that you choose in sharing the message that you have to talk to them in. I think it is very clearly visible that communication skills is one of the most important leaderly traits that you will possess if you want to become a leader. Is there a leader in you? Is there a leader in you hiding, waiting to have a chance to expose yourself? Then it is definitely time for you to hone your communication skills. I think that statistics definitely tells you outstanding communication skills tops the list with on the first three by giving you or exposing you to an understanding why it is important for you to learn communication skills when you are entering your college life. I think you should be seeing a picture right now. நீங்க அந்த பிக்சர் பாத்தீங்க அப்படின்னா அந்த பிக்சர்ல வந்து ரொம்ப பியூட்டிஃபுல் பிளெண்ட் ஆஃப் கலர்ஸ் இருக்கு. எல்லா கலர்ஸும் அங்கங்க இருக்க வேண்டிய இடத்துல ரொம்ப அழகா வந்து அந்த பிக்சரை பெயிண்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. ஓகே, எதுக்காக அந்த பிக்சர் அப்படின்னா கான்வர்சேஷன் இஸ் ஆல்சோ an art. அந்த பெயிண்டிங் மாதிரி நீங்க கரெக்ட் செட் ஆஃப் வேர்ட்ஸை யூஸ் பண்ணல அப்படின்னா அந்த பிக்சர் எவ்வளவு அழகா இருக்குதோ we can call a picture as a masterpiece when it is beautiful. And when you paint a conversation with the beautiful words that you can use, then it becomes very, very beautiful to be called an art. At the same time, if you pick the wrong words or if you don't give importance to the right choice of words, then it can quickly become a disaster. ஓகே, நீங்க பேசுறது அங்க வந்து நீங்க கரெக்டான வார்த்தையை சூஸ் பண்ணல அப்படின்னா ஒரு பெயிண்டிங்ல ராங் கலர்ஸ் சூஸ் பண்ணா அந்த பிக்சர் எவ்வளோ அவலட்சணமா போகுமோ அதே மாதிரி வந்து உங்களோட கான்வர்சேஷனும் வந்து என்ன ஆயிடும்னா இட் வில் லூஸ் இட்ஸ் மீனிங். And the next thing is that a good communicator will be able to negotiate, resolve problems. He'll be initiative of being a part of the teamwork. He'll be facilitating all the members of the group with good energy and stamina. And the last thing that a good communicator can do is read expressions. The moment you start having a conversation with somebody, you definitely learn if they are very inclined to what they are listening to or if they are not interested. So when you understand that they are listening to or when their expression tells you that they are inclined into your conversation, then you definitely understand that you have to be very, very keen in the choice of words, how you speak to them. So what happens when we communicate with people? 70% of our efforts that we make in initiating a conversation or having a conversation goes in vain or becomes a failure. That is why, because we are always or mostly misunderstood or misinterpreted or feel rejected or even not heard. It is very painful when we, the communicators, get to understand that many of our efforts are not taken into consideration at all. நீங்க ஒரு விஷயத்த பேசுறீங்க அப்படின்னா அதை பேசுறதோட பர்பஸ் அங்க வந்து போய் சேரல அப்படின்னு சொன்னா அந்த கம்யூனிகேஷன் மொத்தமா வேஸ்ட் தான். ஒரு ஸ்டாட்டிஸ்டிக்ஸ்ல 70% வந்து நம்ம எவ்வளோ எஃபர்ட் ஒரு விஷயத்தை கம்யூனிகேட் பண்றதுக்கு எடுக்கிறோமோ அது ஃபெயிலியர்ல தான் முடியுதுன்னு சொல்றாங்க. ஸோ வாட் ஷுட் யூ பி டூயிங்? வாட் கேன் வி பி டூயிங்? ஸோ வாட் ஆர் த திங்ஸ் தட் we need to be focusing if we have to understand that there are so many important things that we need to understand before we communicate to somebody. So that is why I furnished with a few key elements that will help you understand how you should proceed further with the communication. The first thing goes by body language, words, and tone. Your body language should go with or go hand in hand with the words and the tone that you are talking. நீங்க பேசுறது ஒரு மாதிரியும் உங்க எக்ஸ்பிரஷன் ஒரு மாதிரியும் இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னு சொன்னா நீங்க பேசுறதுக்கும் அந்த எக்ஸ்பிரஷனுக்கும் சம்பந்தமே இல்லை அப்படின்னா then you are communicating a wrong message. So try to make yourself or watch your body language, the words and the tone that should go hand in hand. Secondly, it is very important to maintaining an eye contact. ஒரு ஆடியன்ஸை பார்த்து பேசுறீங்க அப்படின்னா யாரை நீங்க பார்த்து பேசுறீங்களோ it is definitely important to make an eye contact so the person is automatically provoked to feel that you are involving them into the part of conversation that you are talking. And the next thing is your voice culture. You have to make sure that you are choosing the right tone or the right kind of stress and intonation in which you are talking to your audience. And most important aspect of talking is that better make sure your understanding of a conversation will only go smooth if you stick on to being positive, precise, and clear. And knowing how and when to insert an opinion will actually give you more space to listen to other people's opinion, which will help you be a part of a very good conversation. So, as said, nonverbal communication gives space to the audience to interpret the message that they are receiving. நீங்க வாயினால பேசுற வார்த்தை மட்டும் இல்ல, உங்களோட பாடி லாங்குவேஜ், உங்களோட ஃபேஸ் எக்ஸ்பிரஷன், இது எல்லாத்துலயுமே என்ன இருக்கும்னா நீங்க பேசுற மெசேஜோட ஒரு பார்ட் ஒளிஞ்சிருக்கும். ஸோ உங்க பாடி லாங்குவேஜ் ஹேஸ் டு கோ டெஃபினெட்லி ஹேண்ட் இன் ஹேண்ட் வித் வாட் யூ ஆர் டாக்கிங். So now that you have understood or get to have a glimpse of why communication is necessary, I think these questions will be right now in your mind. Where do you start, or how do you have to improve? Okay, I'll now tell you there's a starter pack. So if you don't know where to begin a conversation or how to initiate a conversation, then you can take these tips for beginning a conversation. You can start by introducing yourself. You can share the hobbies and interests that you have, and you can definitely involve the other person by asking them what interests and hobbies they share and how are they involved in it. And you can even go to simple questions like where a person grew up, what are they feeling excited about, and interests that you both share in common. So these are starter packs that will help you to initiate a conversation, which will help you in the longer run to build a good relationship or rapport with the one you are talking to. And when you are always focused on being in a good conversation, I think it is very important that you also learn when or how a conversation can go wrong. When you abruptly end a conversation without giving it a proper ending, then the listener will not be interested in proceeding the conversation further. So better have a clear idea of how you want to channelize the conversation that you are into. And the next one is giving negative feedbacks. When you put someone into a negative mood, I think that is one worst thing that anybody can do when you are in a conversation, because the person who is involved in the process of conversation will not be ready to share or will not be ready to involve or listen to negative feedbacks. So which will obviously hinder the conversation process, and which will definitely stop them from developing on or discussing the content further. So how can you control your conversation? If you think you do not have if you do not have any idea how you can channelize the conversation, these are few tips that you can definitely take to how to build on how you can channelize your conversation. Firstly, you will have to know what you want to say. Be prepared with the idea that you have to convey to the person who is listening to you. Be prepared with the facts. Be prepared with the questions that will come your way. Be prepared with the challenges that you can face while you are involved in a conversation. And the next thing, you definitely have to control your fear so that your mind gives a space more open for you to interpret on the messages that you are listening and to interpret on the feedback that you are listening to. And the next one will be giving an opportunity for the other person that puts you in the place of being a good listener. When you start listening, obviously you make yourself more open to discussions. You make yourself more involved in a conversation by giving space for a lot of thoughts and insights to be poured in. Then you have to think before you begin to talk, which gives you more space to understand the kind of words that you will have to choose before you are indulging in a conversation. Another very important thing that I want all of you to learn is that you being very confident in the message that you are sharing. If you are very confident about the stand that you are taking or the position that you are taking while you're having a conversation, then nobody can take control or be dominant over your conversation abilities. Then if you want to emphasize on something, make sure you repeat the major points by letting them know that you're emphasizing on certain facts. The last thing that I want to share with you will be find what your listener wants. As I mentioned earlier, it is definitely very important for a speaker to put themselves in the place of a listener so that they will know or be able to organize the conversation with very clear motives so that they will be able to give a very clear conversation on the ideas that they want to share with the audience. So I have given you a few websites that will help you in the long run to enable your speaking, listening, and your conversation skills. I think it was a very fruitful time that you had with me, and you have been such a wonderful audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Pandimuthu, madam.
Pandimuthu, madam. Madam, முடிச்சிட்டாங்களா?
Madam, முடிச்சிட்டாங்க சார். Thank you சொல்லிட்டாங்க.
Madam, Pandimuthu, madam. Vote of thanks by Dr. S. Pandimuthu. Vote of thanks by Dr. S. Pandimuthu, madam. Madam, start பண்ணுங்க madam. Madam, நீங்க start பண்ணலாம்.
Most respected and honorable secretary of our college, respected principal Dr. K.R. Jayakumar sir, respected vice principal Dr. A. Susimanikam sir, today's resource person Dr. J.Rini Joyce ma'am, respected IQSC coordinator Dr. Vijay sir, respected deputy coordinator Dr. Sridevi ma'am, respected all the HODs, respected SIP convener Dr. Narayanasamy sir, beloved faculty members and my students. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Students Induction Program, it's my honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks to this occasion. First of all, I would like to thank our eminent resource person, Dr. J.Rini Joyce ma'am, Assistant Professor of English from American College in Madurai, for placing today's induction program. Thank you, ma'am. By listening to your teaching advisor, ma'am, I am sure that our students relay their ideas and opinions successfully. Your teaching makes them to get an idea about what is communication and how to communicate. Thank you, ma'am, for your motivational and inspirational words. I would like to express my deep gratitude and my heartfelt thanks our Honorable Secretary sir for permitting us to conduct this program. Thank you, sir. I would extend my gratitude to our principal sir for his continuous support in organizing this program successfully. Thank you, sir. I also extend my gratitude to our vice principal sir for your thoughtful guidance and encouragement. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our IQSC coordinator and deputy coordinator for your constant support and initiating this program very successfully. Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am. I express my thankfulness to all the HODs for your support and enormous cooperation of this event. Thank you to all. I have to thank beloved faculty members of our college for your cordial cooperation of this event. I also thank Professor Ananthakrishnan sir, Head of the Department of Information Technology, and Dr. M. Ilayaraja, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, for providing technical support for this program. I am grateful to SIP committee for all of your help and continued support. My heartfelt thanks to all parents and my students for your kind cooperation for the success of this event. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Sir, Ananthakrishnan sir.
சொல்லுங்க சார்.
முடிச்சிடலாமா சார்?
முடிச்சுக்கலாம் சார்.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
ma'am.
that was really short and crisp. You made the point.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
ma'am.
very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Continue பண்ணிக்கலாம் சார்.
ஓகேங்க சார்.
Thank you, madam. Pandimuthu madam, thank you.
Thank you,
Leela
sir.
sir, thank you. Thank you, madam. Sir, முடிச்சிடலாம் சார்.
ஓகேங்க சார்.
Okay, thank you.